welcome back to the Chronicles of Humanism, where we explore what happened this week in history and talk about what it has to do with humanism. In case you're not familiar, humanism is a philosophy that looks for ways to solve society's problems and answer life's big questions using reason, science, and critical thinking. I'm Kiwi Callahan. I'm a member of the Secular Humanist Society of New York, and here at the Chronicles of Humanism, it's Ladies' Night. Well, it's actually Ladies' Month. It's actually International Women's Month. March is International Women's Month, and what better way to wrap it up than by thanking our feminist forebears with a countdown of the top 5 most badass historical humanist hotties. And by hotties, I mean highly outspoken, tough-talking, intellectually exceptional sheep people. These women went where they wanted, said what they wanted, and did what they wanted, and made enormous contributions to the human race. Let's get to know them. This foxy physicist is best known for coining the term radioactive during her research and development of the theory of radioactivity. She discovered 2 elements, radium and polonium, which she named after her home country of Poland. In a time and place that was totally unsupportive of women's education, she became the first European woman to win a doctorate in science. She became the first female faculty member at several universities, including the prestigious University of Paris, and she became the first person, male or female, to win 2 Nobel Prizes. She did all of that while being openly non-religious, which was really unusual at that time. Marie Curie was definitely a hottie to be reckoned with. This fetching folklorist, anthropologist, and author was one of the most honored and most prolific members of the Harlem Renaissance, traveling all over the Americas and the Caribbean, collecting folklore and studying their rich cultural diversity. At a time when women were expected to be homemakers, Zora was leading expeditions through Honduras looking for ancient ruins, she was writing articles, plays, short stories, and novels, and she was looking for zombies in Haiti. And although she was immersed in many belief systems throughout her life, she wrote often about her distaste for organized religion. Definitely don't mess with this hottie, because zombies. Halfway down the list, we come to Mary Wollstonecraft, the spicy scribe who was centuries ahead of her time. She was one of the earliest voices advocating women's equality in England and published several works on the subject. Her most well-known is A Vindication on the Rights of Women, in which she writes that the only reason that women appear to be inferior to men is because they lack the same educational opportunities. She also demanded that women be viewed as reasonable beings. She further posited that since men and women both are rational beings, that the social order should be based on reason and reason alone. Mary was one of the first to decry the institution of marriage as detrimental to women and didn't marry herself until after she had had 2 scandalous affairs and born a child out of wedlock. When she finally did marry, she married an anarchist named William Godwin. They had another child together who went on to become a famous author herself. Her name is Mary Shelley, and you definitely know of her. Oh yeah! Mary Wollstonecraft was quite contrary indeed, and thank goodness, because she inspired an entire generation of women who would later become the suffragists and feminists that we know today. Speaking of which, the penultimate woman in our top 5 historical humanist hotties countdown is this steamy suffragist, Elizabeth Cady Stanton. This lady had her hands in every possible progressive political cause in her day. She was one of the fiercest advocates of American women's suffrage, she was an outspoken critic of slavery, and she fought to have laws on property rights, marriage, divorce, employment, and education be rewritten to include language that was fair and just to those who had been previously marginalized. Stanton was also one of the first women in America to openly attack religion as being detrimental to women. She even went so far as to gather a group of women together to write the Women's Bible, in which they systematically went through the Bible, chapter by chapter, and wrote about why each one was or wasn't offensive to women. And then they published it in 1895. Elizabeth Cady Stanton, one formidable hottie. Which brings us to the number 1 hottie in our top 5 historical humanist hotties countdown. Drum roll, please. This bodacious birth control activist, sex educator, writer, and nurse was utterly fearless in her pursuit of women's rights. Working in the poorest neighborhoods in New York City around World War I, Sanger saw how much women suffered because they couldn't control when or if they became pregnant. She started researching and writing about birth control to try to help women take better care of themselves. But unfortunately, because of the decency laws of the time, she was arrested for it. That didn't stop her in the least. In her career as a birth control activist, Margaret Sanger would be jailed 8 times for her efforts. She actually opened America's very first birth control and family planning clinic in Brooklyn in 1916, even though she knew she would be arrested for it. She went on to found the American Birth Control League, which is still around today, although now it bears a different name. Planned Parenthood. Oh yeah, and the motto of her newsletter, The Woman Rebel, was this. Goosebumps. Ladies and gentlemen, Margaret Sanger, the quintessential, badass, historical, humanist, highly outspoken, tough-talking, intellectually exceptional she-person. There are, of course, so many women who could have made this list, and even though Women's Month is coming to a close, you should definitely go out and learn about them anyway. If you want to come out and meet some real-live humanist women who are making history today, or if you just want to know a little bit more about humanism in general, please visit our website at www.shsny.org and come enjoy life with us. I'm Kiwi Callahan, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, stay curious.